G'day, Lish. Thanks for the question. So, can I ask if your parents wanted to buy a house and put it in their children's name, um, so it's there, can they actually do that? Let me give you a little bit of context now. This is, of course, general advice. You need to go get some specific tax and financial advice around the specifics of this because I don't know the details of your situation. Now, the big issue that you have in terms of buying property and putting it into your children's names, and I'm going to assume that those children are under the age of 18, so they are financially dependent on you, is that house, let's assume that it's going to be rented out, is going to cause some issues around the minor tax rates. Now, the Australian government typically wants people to avoid putting investment assets in their children's names because they don't want them to be used as a tax vehicle in order to minimize tax. So essentially, kids have the ability to earn about $400 a year in income. And then anything above $400 up to about $1,600, they pay 66% tax. And then anything there beyond, I believe they pay about 46% tax. So the issue is that they're going to pay about 50% on any income that they earn on investments and also the same on capital gains tax. So what we typically see our clients do is that if they want to set up their kids in the future for property, they typically will set that up through a family trust. And the reason for this is that this provides them with flexibility. It allows them to avoid the minors' tax rates. It allows them to transfer that asset or essentially the effective use and benefit of that asset in the event of that being transferred. So what does that look like? Well, what some people choose to do is they set up a family trust and they utilize that family trust to acquire property assets, investment assets, whatever those investment assets may be. Now, in a family trust, if you are the trustee, you have the ability to choose how the benefits of those assets are going to be distributed to any particular beneficiary. So you have the ability to derive benefit yourself, your significant other could derive benefit, and your children can derive benefit, but still being mindful of those minors' tax rates until they turn 18. Now, from then onwards, a family trust can typically run for 80 years. There are still some strategies that we can get it to run for longer, so I can film a video on that later. But what that allows us to basically do is that, let's say by the time they get to 25, you decide that they're responsible, they are going to make good decisions, that you could essentially just allow them to use the property that's inside the family trust, and there are basically no issues associated with that. Now, let's say later on down the track, God forbid you pass away, then you have the ability to then transfer the trustee status to your children, and that basically means that they now control the family trust. But the benefits associated with that is that they don't have to trigger capital gains tax from transferring a property from one person to the next. It also doesn't trigger stamp duty, and it also allows them to get benefit and potentially even just do the same thing for their children, keeping in mind that the trust can run at a minimum for 80 years, potentially longer if you have the right structure and advice in place. So this is personally what I do. This is what many of our clients do. It is something that you need to get advice on because it is complicated, because it takes into account your personal financial planning, your family financial planning, and various tax structures. So make sure you get advice. If you're a business owner and you'd like to get help on that, feel free to jump on the link in my bio, and more than happy to help you. Take care.